How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel, another UFC predictions. Today we're talking UFC 292, live from Boston, Massachusetts. Aljamain, the Funk Master Sterling versus Sugar Sean O'Malley, live from the TD Garden Arena in downtown Boston. Now this is going to be a really good fight. We got a really good card up on our hands. So without further delay, let's just get straight into it. Starting off, I want to get this out of the way quickly. I do think Brad Katona and who do I think will win out of the lightweights? Hubbard or Holloway? That's a tough one. I'm going to go for Austin Hubbard to win the Ultimate Fighter. Well, Brad Katona is going to win the featherweights. I just think experience and having McGregor's team around him is going to help him get the win over Cody Gibson. I think Cody Gibson's a great fighter. For those who have watched The Ultimate Fighter, you know how competitive it is between those two, so I'm really looking forward to that fight. And Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holloway. Both are really good in both areas of the game, stand-up, ground game, jiu-jitsu, whatever you may need, but wrestling in there as well. But I do think... Did I say... Oh man, I'm torn. I'm gonna say Holloway. Is that how you say it? Kurt Holloway. There we go. I think Kurt wins. He's gonna win by decision. I think that fight has decision written all over it. And I have Brad Katona beating Cody Gibson by third round TKO. Before we get into the pay-per-view, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Chris Weidman. He's back in the ring, well, in the octagon after what? He would have had the leg break in April 2023. Or 2021, so almost 2.5 years later, he's coming back to fight Brad Tavares here in Boston. I think that'll be a good fight. I mean, everybody knows Chris Weidman. He's going to want to take it to the ground. Brad Tavares is a pretty good stand-up guy. Should be a pretty good matchup on paper. I hope Chris wins, but it could go either way. Chances are Brad Tavares will probably win considering everything that's going on down in Hawaii recently. By the way, I will have a link in the description, so if you can donate to a fund to help out Hawaii, please, because oh my god, it is horrible what's going on out there. Prayers up to Hawaii, man. Alright, kicking us off on the pay-per-view, you have Marlon Chito Vera versus Pedro Munoz, and oh my god, what a fight. I'm very excited to see this one. Marlon Chito Vera, you know how game he is, you know how well he can throw kicks, you know how well he can punch. That fight has good fight written all over it. Pedro Munoz is the same way. You know how good he can punch, you know how good he can kick. I don't feel like either of these guys are going to be looking for takedowns in particular either, so like that makes it even better. Like looking at the stats here on paper, Chito Vera is going to have a 5.5-inch reach advantage. Actually a 6-inch reach advantage, that's pretty nuts. 4-inch leg difference, and yeah, no, Chito Vera's picked up some really good wins recently. Look at the way he knocked out Dominic Cruz. He beat the guy competing for the title this weekend in Sugar Sean O'Malley, the way Chito Vera beat Rob Font. Marlon Vera is on an upswing. Pedro Munoz is kind of in the middle right now, had some good ones, had some bad ones, but I feel like if he beats Chito Vera, that'll be a great uptick for his career. Unfortunately for Pedro Munoz, I don't think that's going to happen. I am going to take Marlon Chito Vera to win this fight, and I feel like he's going to get it done either later in the third round or by decision. I don't see this fight going to the ground, so I feel like it'll either be a TKO or a decision. I'm going to lean towards decision, but I think a finish is very possible in this fight considering how game these two are. And next up at Bantamweight, we have Damon Blackshear versus Mario Bautista. Now this should be a really good fight. I don't know how to say this guy's name, but I want to give a big shout out to the Blackshear fella. He fought last weekend, and now he's going to step in on short notice to fight this weekend. That's badass. That's a true fighter. Shout out Damon Blackshear. I think that's how you say your name. Blackshear, Damon Blackshear. I'm not 100% sure how to say your name, but full respect to you, my man. You are a legit badass. And I heard he had a pretty good performance too. And against someone like Mario Bautista, I feel like that's going to play dividends in that fight, having that natural confidence. He may be a little over the moon considering everything's happening so fast, but we'll see how this fight goes. Looking at the stats, they both seem to be good on the ground, but I feel like Mario Bautista having some time off between weight cuts will help him in this fight. This Blackshear fella just fought last weekend, I think, and has to cut all that weight twice, so I feel like that's going to play a toll on him here. But I'm going to take Mario Bautista to win by a second round submission this fight. Should be a really good fight. I'm looking forward to it, but we shall see what happens here on Saturday night. And next up, we have a welterweight bout between Neil Magny and Ian Gary. Now, this is a pretty good striker versus grappler matchup. And a prospect versus veteran, too, because, I mean, looking in the opposite corner, you have Neil Magny stepping in on short notice, known for his grappling. He has a good striking game, too, but I feel like Magny's more known for his grappling. And, I mean, he can get a sub, he can win a decision, he can knock you out if he needs to. Neil Magny's an all-round pretty good, consistent fighter. And in the opposite corner, I feel like you have the same thing, but the younger, flashier version in Ian Gary, who a lot of people are believing to be Ireland's next top MMA prospect. And I think so too. I think this kid's very talented. He's got good kicks, great punches, great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu. I feel like Ian Gary could be a future champion here at welterweight, and I truly and honestly do believe that. I definitely feel like this fight's going to come down to how well Ian Gary adapts to being in there with a veteran. Is he going to blow the gas tank too early? Is he going to do different things that he's not used to? How much of the pressure is he going to feel? Seeing what Ian Gary's done in the past, I'm sure the bright lights in the moment won't get to him, but these are genuine questions to be asked, and only Ian Gary can answer them in the octagon on Saturday. And against a tough opponent like Neil Magny, it's going to be tough, but I feel like the short notice for Neil Magny will help him out a lot in this fight. I am going to go with Ian Gary. I feel like he's going to get a stoppage in the third round in this fight, probably through kicks or punches. I don't see him like completely flatlining Neil Magny, but I definitely see him getting the TKO later on in this fight. Ian Gary will win this fight by third round TKO. And now we find ourselves at the co-main event of UFC 292. Magnum Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos. Now this should be a good, talented contest. From what I've seen from the UFC Countdown shows and all that, Amanda Lemos seems to be a very tough challenge, and someone who doesn't have a lot of quit in them. I mean, not a lot of people are going to know who Amanda Lemos is, especially where she's not an English-speaking fighter, and she's not the most well-known name in women's fighting. To sell pay-per-views in women's fighting, you pretty much got to be Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Rose Namajunas, Zhang Weili, Valentina Shevchenko, or Amanda Nunes, or you have to have beaten one of them. That's pretty much the only way you're going to sell big tickets in women's MMA. Unfortunately, that's just a reality of the situation, but here you are. But this is Amanda Lemos' chance, and she's with a good camp in Brazil that could help her out a lot in this fight. You know, the way she seems to be a quite talented striker. The way she moves back, she has some pretty good footwork. I feel like she is capable of getting the job done, but it's really hard to doubt someone with the talent and capabilities that Zhang Weili has. Look at the way she came back and took Rose to a decision in their second fight. She arguably won that fight against Rose as well. You look at the Joanna fight, that was really impressive. The way she got the title back against Carla Esparza, completely dominated her. That was, on all accounts, phenomenal by Zhang Weili, and I feel like we're gonna witness Zhang Weili history again in this fight. Nothing against Amanda Lemos, I just think Zhang Weili is that talented, is that capable, and I do think she will get the job done once again on Saturday. Give me Zhang Weili to win by a third round KO in the... Well, I said what round it is, genius. But yeah, Zhang Weili will win by third round KO, TKO. She'll win by stoppage. Now, on to what we've all been waiting for, the main event of the evening. Aljo the Funk Master Sterling versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. What a fight this could be. Let me just say, imagine if Sean O'Malley wins. Think about this. If Sean O'Malley wins this fight, Sean Strickland beats Adesanya, and Colby Covington beats Leon Edwards in November. we could have Sean Strickland, Sean O'Malley, and Colby Covington all champions at the same time. Could you imagine the scenes? That would be peak racism. Oh, what am I even talking about? Anyways, that would be jokes for most UFC fans. Oh my god, I would get a hoot out of that. Especially if Strickland wins. Could you imagine if Sean Strickland, of all people, beat Adesanya? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's not disrespect the champ here. Aljamain Sterling. Very impressive wins over Henry Cejudo. It was close, but Aljamain Sterling did win the fight in my opinion. Petr Yan twice. Well, once for sure. TJ Dillashaw. Like, Aljamain's great, man. He's a truly phenomenal fighter. Look at the way, back the way he submitted Corey Sandhagen. Like, Aljo is the real deal, and I'm not surprised at all that he's the champion, putting up the most defenses and now has the most wins in bantamweight history. Excuse me. The Funk Master is for real. We cannot deny that. But he's going up against the guy that the UFC want to make an absolute superstar, and he has superstar potential in Sugar Sean O'Malley. The Sugar Show has been on a roll lately. Look at the way he knocked out Thomas Almeida, the way he beat what's his face there? Oh my god. What's his name? The Moutinho fella on the McGregor-Poirier card. Absolutely pieced him up. I know there was the whole thing with Pedro Munoz that the eye poke made it a no contest or whatever it was. But then he had that great fight against Petr Yan, and that was a close fight. And I remember watching that fight. I did think Petr Yan won that fight, but I've watched it back a few times. I can see where Sean O'Malley won. I can also see where Petr Yan won. It was a close fight, but Aljo's had some close fights with those guys too, and that's what makes it interesting. It's a grappling vet versus a new-coming striker. And I've been seeing a lot of clips going around on Instagram lately of O'Malley competing in grappling tournaments, holding his own and doing well. The Sugar Show is for real. Let's be real. The Sugar Show can grapple. Aljamain Sterling can strike too. So this is, in my opinion, this is a good all-round MMA contest. We just know what path Aljamain wants, and we know what path Sean O'Malley wants. So, with that all being said, I feel like, well, yeah, it even says it here right in front of me. O'Malley's going to have 4 inches on Aljo, which is going to make a big difference in the octagon. Surprisingly, only a 1-inch reach advantage for Sugar, especially considering the range, the height. That's pretty big for Aljamain Sterling to only give up 1 inch in reach. I feel like that's pretty impressive considering the height difference in these two. But looking at this fight, how do we think it's gonna go? Aljo versus Sean. I do think Sean O'Malley will be a champion someday. I really do. But I don't think it'll come against Aljamain Sterling. I think Aljamain Sterling will win this fight by, I'm gonna say, a decision. It's either gonna be a decision or a submission, I feel. What round would he be if it were to submit him? I'm gonna say round 4 or 3 or 4, because here's the thing. We haven't seen Sean O'Malley in a 5-round fight yet, let alone for a title. So, how good is O'Malley's gas tank? That's a question that need to be asked. I mean, it seemed to do okay in the Petr Yan fight out in Abu Dhabi, but this will be the fight where we truly find out just how good is the gas tank of Sugar Sean O'Malley. And in my opinion, Aljamain Sterling will take Sean O'Malley into the trenches, and as he should. He is not proven these situations. He's gonna have to, Sean's gonna have to earn Aljo and everybody's respect in this fight. And I feel like he will gain a lot of respect in this fight. Sean's really got nothing to lose. He's fighting one of the greatest bantamweights ever, and he really just has to show up, put on a good fight, and if he lands the good punch or does enough to win a decision, great job on his part. But the champ is known to be dominating for a reason. I think he will get another dominating win and I say he will submit Sean O'Malley in the 4th round of UFC 292. And there you have it. Those are my picks and predictions for UFC 292. Sterling versus O'Malley, live from Boston, Massachusetts on Saturday, August 19th. Make sure you guys enjoy the fights. Let me know who you got in the comments down below. If you're looking for good betting advice, who to take, please follow me in the link in the description. A link to my sportsbook, my Instagram sportsbook page is down below. Please gamble responsibly. I only do this for if you're 18 or over, so just heads up. Bet responsibly, okay? And I'm trying not to get canceled here. But anyways, guys, it has been a pleasure to have a review again as always, and I look forward to seeing what you guys think of the fights on Saturday night. Take care, and peace.